Liberal media loses its mind over Texas and Arizona busing illegal aliens to DC and NYC. It shows the hypocrisy. As long as it's not in their states, they don't care. But once they start busing them into the liberal states and the liberal states gets to see how border states like Texas and Arizona has to deal with this problem, now it's an issue. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. All right, let's talk about this news. Democrats have been seen ignoring the crisis at the border as border states are getting flooded by illegal aliens, and then the Biden team has been releasing who knows how many people into the country. But Texas Governor Greg Abbott finally got their attention by busing them up to Washington, D.C., and now he's included New York City. Let me preface this by saying that first there is some people, some conservatives and some people on the right that don't like this decision. Lake came out saying that she don't like it. They need to send them back to Mexico, but I think it's some type of regulations or something where they can't do that. So that's why he's busing them to these sanctuary cities. But Abbott noted that NYC was an ideal destination because just like DC, it's a sanctuary city. Quote, I hope he follows through on his promise of welcoming all migrants with open arms so that our overrun and overwhelmed border towns can find relief, Abbott said about NYC Mayor Eric Adams. Arizona Governor Doug Ducey has been busing illegal aliens up to DC. I think it's a great plan. The actions of Texas and Arizona are causing the Democrats to flip out now that they finally have to deal with the problem in the cities they control. They're not happy with it, with Washington, D.C. calling it a humanitarian crisis after they received 4,000 people over a couple of months, when some Texas cities can receive that number in a day. You know what I'm saying? That shows just how much the plan has been working. But there's also another side benefit to Abbott's brilliant move, showing the utter hypocrisy of the media as well. Suddenly, they're also concerned about the influx of illegal aliens into Washington, D.C. and New York City when they haven't seemed to give a darn about the flooding across the border. It makes absolutely no sense, of course. And guess who they're blaming for the problem? Not Joe Biden, but the Texas and Arizona governors. That's right. They're blaming them instead of Joe Biden and his open border policies. Here's how the New York Times described what's happening. Quote, GOP governors cause havoc by busing migrants to East Coast and claiming this was using the illegal aliens as a political tool. The piece cited a D.C. council member claimed, quote, this is a crisis created by Republican leaders in other states. However, unfortunately, it's fallen on the mayor to allocate resources locally. I mean, can they not see the irony in this? Can they not see the hypocrisy in this? Like, I don't understand. Because the borders are supposed to be the federally controlled. The federal government is supposed to protect our borders. That's one of the main reasons we have a federal government, and they're not doing it. It's not up to the states to protect the border. It's supposed to be the federal government. So what else can they do but send them somewhere else? Vanity Fair claimed the Republican governors had, quote, successfully created a migrant crisis in the northern states. This is hilarious. The Washington Post columnist Petula Dvorak called the migrant buses, quote, a cruel political stunt that has devolved into relentless, inhumane cruelty. What? What cruelty? Like leaving the borders wide open for people to make these hard treks across the in heat where people are dying and they're smuggling in drugs and they're smuggling in they're trafficking people. That's not inhumane. That's not cruelty. These people are nuts. These people are crazy. The Washington Post editorial board wrote, quote, Mr. Abbott and Mr. Ducey hope to cause trouble to make it seem as though migrants inevitably lead to chaos and thus compel the federal government to pass more draconian border policies. So you don't want to protect our borders. You just want people to just walk on in and not have any checks or anything in place. These people are, oh my gosh, it enrages me. The NPR says that the GOP governors are sending the people, but they have no plan. Wait, who doesn't have a plan? All these illegal aliens came in under Joe Biden. Where's his plan? Of course, his plan was just to let them in and overrun the border states' facilities. But now, just a fraction of the number that flood Texas and Arizona go to D.C. and New York, and it's a crisis and inhumane cruelty all of a sudden. What was it when Joe Biden was letting them into the country? Why weren't they calling Biden cruel and pressing him to do something? What is cruel about giving people a bus ride to such liberal meccas as DC and New York City? Aren't those cities sanctuary cities? I mean, that's what they call them. Aren't they saying aren't they saying thereby they want illegal aliens to come into their cities and they take care of them? So how is this cruel? Seemed to be a great plan by governors to me, and it's working like a charm. If this is the reaction, it's nuts, and again, it points again to their hypocrisy. But let me know what you think. Leave comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out democrepublics.com for the latest news. Until next time, peace.